in 7 locations, and these are some of the pictures of the disclosures of what was found from the homes of Satyendar Jain's aides. Now, Satyendar Jain is a Delhi minister, and the agencies claim, the Enforcement Directorate claims, there were gold bars, cash wads that were seized, over 2 kilograms in gold, over 2 crores in cash, and they believe it is directly linked to Satyendar Jain. There's a big fight that's ongoing, and there are more details coming out on the show this evening. Shravan Sen joining me with more details. Shravan, we're getting in more details. In fact, you're telling us that agencies have claimed now, and it's a matter of record that these aides have named Satyendar, saying that they kept the black money for him. Is that what they're saying?
Well, in fact, let me first begin by what the Aam Aadmi Party had to essentially say. They have put out the Panchnama, in which they're basically basing their entire argument on the fact that nothing was really seized from Satyendar Jain's house. Fair enough. Let's just take a look at who are the people who've come under the scanner and from whose residences have these properties or these items been recovered. We are talking about accomplices of Satyendar Jain. These are people who have been connected in one way or the other to Satyendar Jain. Now, that's not something that we are claiming. In fact, there have been multiple other agencies that have been looking into, and now we're going to put out some documents in which those documents, I'll ask my camera person to show it in a short while from now, but let me just try and explain why these documents become very, very crucial right now, number one. And secondly, it basically punches hole in the entire argument that has been put forth by the Aam Aadmi Party. You're saying, like, who is exactly Vaibhav Jain, who is Ankush Jain, and what is the connection between these two people with Satyendar Jain? Now, there are two sets of documents. One is the very charge sheet that has been filed by the Central Bureau of Investigation, in which Ankush and Vaibhav Jain, whose premises have been raided by the Enforcement Directorate, they have been charge sheeted. I'll come to that in a short while from now, but this is the most important, the most crucial document that we have accessed. Now, the recovery that has been made and the allegation that has been leveled is that this money was basically the money belonging to Satyendar Jain, controlled by Ankush and Vaibhav Jain and others also, GS Matharu and others who have been named. And it was they who were parking the money on behalf of Satyendar Jain. Now, take a look at this. Now, the petitioners that we're talking about, these petitioners are essentially Vaibhav and Ankush Jain. I'm just highlighting the very part which is very crucial, but the entire document, over 30 pages, is what we have, in which they're clearly saying they have themselves enclosed a copy of the order dated 24th May 2017, passed in respect of the Benamidar, which inter alia notes that the cash that was routed through accommodation entries in the garb of share capital premium in fact belonged to Mr. Satyendar Kumar Jain, and that it was at his direction that the entire transaction was orchestrated. That's the most crucial part as far as this document goes. Now, what is the link between Vaibhav Jain and the entire Jain family and Satyendar Jain? It is here. Take a look at this particular chart sheet, in which, let me just show you, I'll just put this document here and ask my camera person to just show you this, that how they have been named. Take a look at this. Vaibhav Jain. Vaibhav Jain has been named in this particular chart sheet that has been filed by the Central Bureau of Investigation. He has been charged under sections of 109 of the IPC and several other sections. Sunil Kumar Jain, Ankush Jain, these are people whose premises have been raided by the Enforcement Directorate. Take a look at this. This is the document where Ankush Jain has also been charge sheeted. And interestingly, the Jains find a mention here where they're saying these companies do not have any real business and involved in parking black money of Satyendar Jain and his other two partners, namely Ajit Kumar Jain, Sunil Kumar Jain and their family members, in the form of investments in equity shares through accommodation entries by Kolkata-based shell and paper companies. So, net, if I try to simplify this for all our viewers, it means that you have their accomplices of Satyendar Jain, Vaibhav Jain, Ankush Jain and the entire Jain family. There are several other members who have also been named, but let's just focus on Vaibhav and Ankush Jain, because their names have already they already find a mention in the CBI charge sheet. And now the searches that have been carried out by the Enforcement Directorate, from where the recoveries have essentially been made, the Enforcement Directorate is now essentially pointing out that these are people who are controlling the companies. Once he had stepped down as the director of these companies, it is the Jain family that was taking care of the company. Specific instructions were actually pointed out. In fact, there is entire share pricing and everything that has actually taken place of the company called Paryas Info Solutions, in which these members, they have been directors. They are clearly saying that Satyendar Jain was the man who was controlling this very company, and whatever cash money that was actually being transacted, all of that was under the direction of Satyendar Jain himself. So it's an admission that has been made by his own accomplices. So if the recovery is basically made from their residences, how is it possible that Satyendar Jain himself can distance from his own accomplices? That's the big question that we are asking at this point in time, because if you realize, the Aam Aadmi Party is only basing their argument on one document, that's the Panchnama. The fact of the matter is that this seems to be well orchestrated, and the fact of the matter is that not one, multiple agencies have basically come to the same conclusion, and it has also been upheld by the court. That's the bigger part.
Now, very interestingly, now the fight is clearly political. It's also political because the BJP held a news conference at about 6 p.m. making a comparison when many years ago, I think it was 2015, Shawan, when you also covered the story. It's a story about Jitendra Tomar, another minister whom they defended to the hilt. They really shielded, they backed him. And at some point, they had to let him go because the proof was mounting. And in the case of Satyendar Jain, the Aam Aadmi Party and Arvind Kejriwal himself have stuck their neck out to defend him. Now, will that backfire for them? Here's how the political